I got lost earlier this week in the spiral of self-care vlogs because I was just curious if there was any ideas that I hadn't tried, or maybe I could just get some inspiration for new things because you guys know I love new experiences. But I noticed this trend of influencers that are perpetuating this idea that self care has to be either really expensive or really complicated. And I humbly disagree. I think the exact opposite is true, that the simpler our self care acts or rituals, the more likely we are to continue engaging in them. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we are all about shattering the mental health stigma. If you haven't already, please make sure you make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button. Give the bell a few kisses so you're not missing any of this content designed to help you with your mental health or help you help someone else. Today, I'm going to be reacting To the Hellfire by Lorna Shore, and this wasn't a Patreon request, although my Patreons do get priority song requests along with a lot of other perks, and every single dime goes toward my mental health outreach, so make sure to check that out. Link is in the description. But this was just something I saw requested a lot of in the comments, and then I had a friend that had said, oh my gosh, yeah, you really need to listen to this song, so I figured I'd give it a shot, because like I said, I like to have new experiences. So To the Hellfire by Lorna Shore. Let's see what y'all are suggesting for me today. Suggesting for me today. I love it. Okay. Check. That awkward moment where you don't know whether to be amazed or terrified. My friend that recommended this to me told me to bring the lyrics up, and I said, nah, I don't need the lyrics because I've done Slaughter to Prevail and I've done these other reactions, and I've been really good about understanding even this more frantic, gritty, guttural sound. I have no idea what is being said here. So I do have the lyrics here. I hope that's not cheating. I will say, even in the moments before my suicide attempt, I was attached to the senses, and that's one of the first things that's being talked about here, is being attached to the senses. And I was earnestly taking in my surroundings and trying to contrive some way to magically change the sensations that ceaselessly threatened my little world. And Beyond the Horizon, which was another reference in here, is a metaphor to means something out of reach, something that we can't see, like the other side. And it talks about inducing separation, obviously a call to let go. When we're dying, it's talking about hallucinations and dissolving light and this pins and needles feeling. And when we're dying, the lack of oxygen in our brain actually triggers temporal lobe seizures, which causes hallucinations and and that tunnel vision, so the dissolving light, and a pins and needles feeling. The pins and needles feeling, I think, though, refers to a lingering dread. I do want to reiterate, though, that I did not read the lyrics in advance. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, so it still is completely new, and I'm going in completely blind. Completely blind. And I feel like by the end of it, maybe deaf. I'm just kidding. I will say that I'm just kind of stopping at every couple of minutes because I don't know what's being said, so I'm kind of having to guess where we're at in the lyrics. I think I have it figured out, and I had talked a little bit in the Slaughter to Prevail reaction that I did for Demolisher, is that it personifies the thoughts in the head that we have when we are in that really distressed mode. So I think that is the allure to music like this, and I totally get it. But I think taking it one step further, a lot of us refer to our depression symptoms as our demons, as the PTSD, things like that, our trauma. We refer to these voices and things as our demons. So while oftentimes music like this is called demonic because it sounds like what we have societally accepted as a demon's voice, it's because we need some kind of narration for those thoughts. And sometimes my thoughts can be super nonsensical when I am in that place. It just seems like screaming, and there are emotions beneath it, and there are messages that are trying to get across, but it just seems very nonsensical to anyone who isn't in my head. So I actually really like the concept of this. You guys are getting me into, what is thrash metal? Is that what you told me? Thrash metal? You're getting me into thrash metal just for the appreciation, obviously, of the talent, but for the appreciation of what it's representing. So like I said, I'm kind of guessing where we're at in the lyrics, but face the tide means own up to the consequences of your so-called sins, relinquish flesh, temptation of the body and soul, it says. So, you know, they're giving up on the search for physical pleasure, but also emotional fulfillment. That's what you have to do when it comes to death, is you have to relinquish both of those things. One of the parts ends in saying nothing confessed, which means to me that they didn't repent in the way that they felt necessary to earn their deliverance, to ensure their deliverance. However, it mentions Azrael, and Azrael in some traditions is the angel of death. But then it goes on to specify through the angel's eyes, and I think that's really cool because the angel of death, almost in every religion, every belief system that I know of, does not pass judgment. That's a huge misconception. The angel of death does not pass judgment. The angel of death exists explicitly to help a person cross from the living to the world of the dead. So I think perhaps the transition in this case of seeing through the angel's eye, perhaps the transition in this case is a way of untethering them to the guilt that they're experiencing that we just discussed. Oh my god. Sorry. I see what you guys did there. I see what you did. You lulled me into this false sense of security with the gentle opening of the flickering fire, so I feel like I'm in this soap opera love scene, and then you throw me into the lion's pit. What? I am so grateful to the friend who told me to pull up the lyrics for this, because like I said, I was feeling pretty proud, so I didn't think I would need to. Glad I did, but I do really think that it's an interesting branch that I obviously had never, ever, ever even dipped my toes into the water of, because can't I can't begin to come to terms with how people can do these things, how they can achieve such rawness and such this frantic, guttural, animalistic. That last part just sounded purely animalistic, and I just don't understand how we can do that. But then again, on the flip side, I don't understand how people can sing like Flora Jansen from Nightwish either. So I feel that it goes both ways. There's just such a spectrum that I didn't know existed. How cool is that you guys are introducing me to that and letting me experience the full musical spectrum. The womb of death that it was talking about, if you guys understood anything, because I didn't, but just in case you didn't either, they were talking about womb of death. That was something that was repeated several times throughout the song, and that is a Shakespeare oxymoron from Romeo and Juliet. Romeo says it when he visits Juliet's grave, and energy is altered upon death, right? So thus something else has been born, and that could be the madness of the survivors that are left behind, or that can be the flowers that are sprouting from our decomposing corpses. But there's other things that are born from death, and Juliet's tomb, in my understanding, was a symbol of decay and destruction for Romeo, and was the personification of the monster of his grief and that he offered himself unto it. But its symbology was worthy of a term that encompassed creation and destruction, this womb of death, as the song says. I feel a little taken aback, and I'm always a little self-conscious with reactions like this because I don't want to offend anyone when I don't understand the lyrics, but I just want to be honest. And again, I am really grateful that I had those available. I think from now on I'll just pull them up as a backup. I haven't had to use them. Look at this. It took me a year to actually have to use them, and it was the day that I actually had them pulled up. So that was pretty serendipitous. But again, thank you for a new experience, for this really energetic, mesmerizing performance, because you could see that I'm pretty awestruck just trying to process in my mind that this is a possibility for the human voice. So very cool. Thank you very much for all the suggestions to this. Hope you're not laughing too hard at me. As always, make sure that you're sharing your mental health stories here in the comments. I do think that this had a pretty heavy theme that can correlate to mental health, as it had a theme of death. The entire theme of the song was death and reincarnation, or death and crossing over into the next world, the afterlife. So I do think that there was a lot of very interesting symbology there. If someone wants to post the lyrics so other people can pick them apart too, that is a-okay. But make sure you're sharing your mental health stories here in the comments. That is how we shatter the stigma, is by talking about it. Give this video a thumbs up, and I love you guys so much. Mwah.